What if changing your mood and reducing your stress was just as easy as but the crazy part is it can really be that simple. So the study that you'll find in our references page at the end of this 5 Minute Friday looked at the difference and the impact of mindfulness meditation, of cyclic breathing, of box breathing, and cyclic hyperventilation with retention. Let's take a look at the difference of those 4 styles of breathing. Hi, I'm Dr. J, and welcome to 5 Minute Fridays. I have a background of a master's in human performance / applied sports science and a doctorate in sport and performance psychology. This week, we're going to be talking about how breathing impacts our mood and reduces stress. If you like 5 Minute Friday, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more 5 Minute Friday on your feed. When we mention cyclic sighing, we're talking about prolonged exhalations, right? So we inhale for a count. So say our inhale count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our exhalation will be even longer than that inhalation would have been. When it comes to the matter of box breathing, each portion of our breathing is going to be the exact same. So there's going to be an inhalation, which is our breath in, and then we're going to pause for that same amount of time that we inhaled. And then once you hit that pause, we're going to exhale for the same amount that we inhaled and paused for. And then after we exhale, we're going to pause for the same amount in between. So say we inhale on a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. And then we exhale. And then we hold again. That would be a cycle of box breathing. Cyclic hyperventilation with retention is going to be where we inhale for much longer than we exhale. So if we inhale, and then we exhale, and then we exhale, it's going to be something of that nature. We're taking that breath in, and that count that we're taking the breath in is much longer than our exhalation is going to be. So the aforementioned styles of breathing that we just talked about are all controlled types of breath work, where we are being very specific about how that breath is being taken and how that breath is being utilized in between the spaces of inhalation, the space between inhalation and exhalation, through our exhalation, and back to that pause that happens at the end of exhalation right before our next inhalation. And now when we look at mindfulness meditation, the biggest differences that we're going to see here is mindfulness meditation is the practice of bringing our attention to our breathing that is naturally occurring without us intervening with it, just so that we can bring awareness to the present moment versus controlling our breathing to elicit a certain response within our body. If you take a look back at our previous 5 Minute Friday, that was about muscles and adaptations that happen to the body via endurance training. We talked a lot about oxygen in the muscle and the mitochondria making that effective, right? But as we talk about breathing in this capacity and just thinking about the pure exchange of oxygen and CO2 within our lungs that'll transport to the rest of our body, breathing is tied to our emotional and cognitive states. But breathing can also alter our emotional and cognitive states. So one more time, both of those things can affect each other, and both of those things can affect each other to change as well. And so say our mood is changing and we're getting angry, right? What happens when people get angry? They get huffy and puffy, right? And so right? But if we're trying to relax and we're trying to slow ourselves down, what do? We slow our breathing down, right? And once we're able to control our breathing, we're able to move forward with some clarity and a much clearer mindset as we're working on those things, right? And so the same could be said about trying to increase relaxation and trying to alter our mood, or trying to reduce our stress, right? Say you've got a competition coming up, right? And you're feeling very anxious, or you're catching yourself getting very excited about. What are the things that we're trying to slow down? Your heart rate might be just going off the charts, right? Well, what if we knew that breathing could change how our body is responding to those things, right? And just a simple practice of 5 minutes a day could greatly impact those things. Would you spend those 5 minutes? Would you make that happen, right? So within this study, they found out that for 5 minutes a day, this small habit of doing controlled breath work could greatly impact our lives and lead to further changes and lead to even improvement in our lives. So now that we have a better idea between cyclic sighing, box breathing, cyclic hyperventilation with retention, and the difference between mindfulness meditation, we can start to talk about the differences and the impacts that these were able to make throughout this study. And so they found out that the controlled breath work was significantly greater at improving mood and reducing stress or state anxiety, right? And so that leads to positive benefits down the road, right? If we're able to control our mood better and we're able to reduce our stress, we're able to make better decisions, but also move with a better awareness and be able to control our body in these high stress and high tension situations much better as well. There's benefit in both of these modalities or both of these approaches to breathing, but it's just that the controlled breath work holds a lot more benefit for us and a lot more immediate impact, right? And as we find out throughout trying these different things, trying these different styles of training, these different approaches to how we move in our day-to-day, you might find out that maybe mindfulness meditation might be the practice for you, and that's okay. But the better part is you tried these things, you took a chance to learn, continued to improve your arsenal of tools, your toolbox to be able to move forward and make better choices as you continue to improve in your day-to-day. So with the knowledge of knowing that our cognitive and emotional states are controlled by our breathing, and our breathing can impact our cognitive and emotional states, if we have better control of our breathing, won't we have better control of our emotional and cognitive states? Controlled breath work leads us to bettering those skills. So some important notes about controlled breathing: nasal breathing versus mouth breathing gives us a better interconnectedness with our body from the electrical signaling starting at the olfactory cortex, which is connected to the amygdala and connected to the hippocampus as well. And so within that means that those areas that directly affect the release of these stress hormones that might be caused by our breathing rate changes, if we're able to control that better, we're able to reduce the physiological response that our body will have to these different stressful situations, right? And so along with that, we talk about our vagus nerve, right? The vagus nerve is in charge of creating homeostasis within the entire body, which has a chance to impact our parasympathetic system for our nervous system and our sympathetic nervous system, right? And so when we talk about the parasympathetic nervous system, we're talking about our rest and digest system, right? When we're talking about our sympathetic nervous system, we're talking about that fight and flight, the one that gets us ready to compete and ready to roll, and we're ready to go with all these things. But it's important for our body to have a clear separation between when it's time to go and when it's time to rest. And if we're not able to get that, and our body stays in a much more active and activated state, which requires more energy demands, but also means that we might be experiencing higher than normal stress on our body. So then future implications that lie ahead for us, if you're able to dedicate 5 minutes a day to doing controlled breath work, which will lead to positive habit formation and you spending time with yourself and increasing that awareness in your body. But not only that, you will improve your mood. You're going to improve your ability to reduce the stress that you experience, which is going to lead to further improvements and better quality of everything around you. If you need more specific help figuring out a controlled breath work or an approach that might work best for you, please reach out. Direct message me on the Just Raw Skill website or via Just Raw Skill Instagram. Thank you for joining me on this 5-Minute Friday. Please join us again in 2 weeks as we cover our next topic. And as always, be refined by the grind.